Hi again, everybody. Okay, this time, um, I just opened the Alive up to everybody because I just feel like that's a better way to do things. I don't know if anybody's here or anybody's gonna show up. Um, I see one person. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Shauna Michelle. Hi, Teresa Hadarian, sorry, Hadarian. Listen, I don't know. That thing where it was just gonna be members just does not work. So I'm gonna just do this here. If I see that you are a member, your questions, of course, will get priority. But this is just open for everybody to watch, and everybody to comment on. But I will be answering questions from channel members as I see them. Again, I am no techno whiz, obviously, and I'm going to just do the best I can. So sorry about that. Okay, nice to be with people because I was over on the other live, and there was nobody there, and I thought, well, that's weird. But anyway, here you are keeping me company, and I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for coming. Everybody's saying hi, 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 hi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I opened it. I think I'm gonna keep it open. I may get rid of that town hall level altogether because, yeah, maybe the price is too high. And, I know everybody wants to know what's going on. So I might as well just leave everything open for everybody. The scoop. I gave you the scoop, Teresa, yesterday on MTG. If you recall, yesterday, even as I was recording the video for you yesterday, at the same time, she was giving her little speech saying that she was leaving. I do think that her intention is to run, not for Senate, I don't think, but I think she's going to run for governor, which is why she gave us all of her bona fides, all of her accomplishments, quote unquote. Um, so she's running for governor. That's all that's about. Um, okay. Will she ever get her punishment for insider trading? Um, I mean, will she ever get punished? I mean, ever is a long time from now. I would say not in the foreseeable future. She said she gave $1 million to the felon. And I said to myself, well, isn't that nice that she had $1 million to give him and money left over? So remember, her pension vested, and that's why she quit now. She will amass a war chest for a gubernatorial race, and that's what she's going to do. Okay, here's a question. Yes, Bonnie Richards. Do I see a gubernatorial race in the cards, so to speak, for Elise Stefanik, especially after Trump said Mamdani's not a jihadist, which has been her big accusation? Yeah, he really, the felon threw Elise Stefanik under the bus by praising Mamdani, whom she has called a terrorist, a jihadist, all kinds of things. But this is what he does. He throws people under the bus. So it should not come as any surprise to her. Will she do a gubernatorial run? Let's see. Let's see. Will she do a gubernatorial run? I'm not going to keep putting the lid up and down because, that's just extra work. So let's see what I get. Hold on. So what I get is we're looking at Elise Stefanik and whether she'll make a gubernatorial run. We have the felon as the first card. We have the dog, the house, the son, and the key. Here's the thing. I don't think he was intentionally meaning to throw her under the bus in the moment. I think in the moment, he was mesmerized by Mamdani and said what he said. Because I think here he is. she is faithful to him, and she will continue to be faithful to him. This is the White House. We have the son and the key. I think she will run for governor. And I think that he will endorse her for governor because she has been a good and faithful servant. That doesn't mean that she'll win, because she won't, but she will definitely run. Okay, let's just see. Okay, I don't want to miss anybody. Will Ohio get a Democratic governor in the next election? Again, if you were a member, I will give your question preference, but if I don't see member questions, then it's a free-for-all. So this question is Lisa Ann. Wait. Well, actually, two of you, Becky Alt, you want to know too. Will Ohio get a Democratic governor in the next election? And then we had Lisa Ann asking, will Vivek be the next governor of Ohio? I don't know if you've noticed, but Vivek is having some issues. The same kind of issue that everybody of color has when they run as a Republican, which is to say racism. I don't know why they're in that party, but whatever. So let's look. Will Vivek win? Because if we look at to see if Vivek will win, and the answer is no, well, that will mean obviously that the Democrat will win. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone if I look at it that way. So we have Crossroads, Hart, the felon in the middle, the young man, and the scythe. I think Vivek will not win the governor's race in Ohio, which answers the other question, will a Democrat win in Ohio? I think a Democrat will, yes, win in Ohio. I don't know what Vivek is thinking. That base, that is the current Republican Party, is not trying to elect somebody like him. It's this illness that some people seem to suffer from where they think that, kind of like Clarence Thomas, they think that they're going to be the exception to the rule. They're not. What's her name found that out? Nikki Haley found that out. Vivek Ramaswamy's finding that out. We see what's happening with Usha Vance. So Vivek will not be the governor there. There will be a Democratic governor in Ohio. Okay. Yeah, Vivek forgot that he wasn't white. That's right. Right. But other people did not forget. Shauna, you're asking me if Jeffrey is alive or not. I'm going to say this. He's definitely alive in spirit. But no, Jeffrey Epstein is dead, 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 dead. But what lives on? His email. And he is getting his revenge from the grave against everybody. That's how it is. So it's kind of like he might as well be alive, and there's nothing that the felon can do about it. Is Epstein haunting the felon? Two Nations. What do you think? Of course he is. Of course he is. Okay, let's see. Someone is instructing me to say that energy shifts in the cards at the moment if there's no shenanigans. I'm not going to say that. That's for you to say, not for me to say. I will say that what I'm doing is reading the cards as they seem to be in the moment. That's what people are asking me. Some of these electoral races are a long time from now. Right? The presidential race is not till 28, and the 26 midterms are not for another year. So, everything, it's the butterfly effect, right? Things can change, absolutely. And what I try to do on this channel is show you what I see in the moment. As I see things change, if they change, I let you know. Um, Nancy Cooley is asking, will Trump leave New York City alone now that he's friends with Mamdani? Yes. And I read on this yesterday. I think he will leave New York City alone. He wants to be well liked by New York City, but remember how he is. Speaking of energy and the moment, Trump listens to whoever is in his ear, whoever's last in his ear. So right now, November 22nd, 2025, will he leave New York alone? Will he even support New York and Mamdani and what he wants to do? Yes, but that could change. The felon is not someone you can count on to do anything except what whim strikes him. But Mamdani handled himself very well. Let's see. Okay, this was not, well, I mean, did the felon do a 180-degree shift on Mamdani because MBS told him to? No. He did a 180-degree shift on Mamdani because Mamdani mesmerized him. There's a great article, I'll try to find the link, that somebody wrote about how Trump works and the different stages his mind goes through. But, Mamdani was steady. He was not argumentative. He was not going out of his way to be complimentary. And he really sort of outclassed the felon. The felon knew that he was outclassed. Remember, the felon likes winners. Mamdani was a big winner. And that's why he treated Mamdani so well. We don't know whether the door closed behind Mamdani and Trump called him all kinds of names. We don't know. But I think in this particular round, Mamdani won, and it had nothing to do with MBS. Okay, here's a question. Teresa, let's see. Will the attachments to the CR that reopened our government be shot down? This includes an attach on the hemp industry and the $500 that 8 Republicans can sue the taxpayers. Well, will they be shot? I mean, I think it's a little late for them to be shot down. The thing passed. The Congress, the House, did not want to allow that thing where the officials could sue. They wanted to take that out, but it went right back in when the bill went to the Senate, and so now, yeah, they can sue, and it's our money that will be paid. Lauren Rogers, welcome. Thank you for being a supporter. I appreciate it. I think the question is, this is Bonnie Richards, will the files come out in an unconventional way, meaning outside the Justice Department? Yes. Remember that, we're acting like these files are like a manila folder that's in a filing cabinet. But that's not how it is. This is all compromat. It's information that I think the DOJ has, but so does Russia. And by the way, so does Israel. So does France. So will it go drip, drip, drip? Will it come out? Yes. Now, will we see everything? I doubt we'll see everything. But yes, we will get information from extrajudicial sources, from sources that have nothing to do with the Justice Department, that have to do with other nation states who hold this information and will drip it out. Okay, let's see. Will Katie Porter return to politics? That's a good question. Well, Katie Porter, what is her trajectory? Let me just look for her. She's terrific, of course. And okay, it's interesting because she's the second card. So this was the first card, the coffin. This was Katie Porter, and then I just have to pull the other cards. It's a very good question because we have the coffin, we have Katie Porter, but look, we have the mountain and we have the book, and then we have Clover. So I think that for the moment, um, no, because of the mountain. But the mountain can be temporary. It's just a pause. So she sees the lay of the land, you know, gains money, gets a war chest, and figures out what she wants to do with it. But I think it's interesting that it starts with the coffin because this is the card of transformation. And I like that it's mirrored with the clover. So I think she is not done with politics, but I think for the moment, she's giving things a pause because she doesn't yet know what direction to go in. But I think she will come back to politics. And we, of course, will welcome her back because she's great. Yeah, please, thank you so much for reminding people to hit the thumbs up, to like the video. I'd appreciate that. Will the Epstein victims finally get justice? You know, can we please do our best to not try to skip to the end of the book, you know, where it says, you know, and they lived happily ever after, the end. Because that's not, this is real life. This is not a fairy tale. You know, justice would be if Ghislaine Maxwell was taken back to that Florida jail. Justice would be if Epstein were alive to face justice, although I do think he was murdered. So, I mean, there you go. Will they face justice? Probably not to the extent that they think it's justice or that we would think it's justice. But will they see some justice? Yes. But it's not going to be the nice fairy tale with a bow on it that you want. That's just not how life is. Usha Vance was not wearing, okay, yeah, this is a good one. So Usha Vance was not wearing her wedding ring. She was descending from a plane and everybody, you know, the camera hit her finger and there was no wedding ring on it. Now, she came up with an excuse. The excuse is that, you know, she's a mom with 3 kids. So she does a lot of dishes and she gives a lot of baths. That's a quote. And I guess that means that when she's engaged in those trad wife domestic goddess activities, she takes her wedding ring off and she just forgot to put it on. So let's ask the question. What is the significance of Usha not wearing a wedding ring? And you know, in Lenormand, there's a card for that, and it's the ring. So let's ask the cards, what's up with the ring? Is there trouble in paradise? So here's the ring. Okay, so we have the heart, we have the lily, and this is nice, right? This is love. This is sort of peace and ease. This is the impression she's trying to give, was that she was just doing her trad wife duties. And, you know, you take your ring off when you're going to do the dishes. Here's the ring. But look, the 4th card is the whip. The whip is the card for arguments. I really do believe that they argue quite a bit in private. And we have the last card, which is the moon, but it's mirrored with the heart. So the public impression that she's trying to give is that everything is paradise. But the whip tells the tale. I think that in a fit of pique, she took it off and then maybe forgot to put it back on. But it was not because she was giving baths and doing dishes. Because trust me, I don't think she was doing any of that. Okay. Gordian knot, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Exactly. Nancy Cooley, I never took my wedding ring off no matter what I was doing. Exactly. Like, come on. Engagement ring, okay, maybe if it's a big rock, whatever. But don't you have a wedding band? And why do you need to take that off to do the dishes? Again, you know, that the trad wife excuse is the one that she rolled with, but we all know there's trouble in paradise. Who is Bubba? I addressed this in a previous video. There were three options for who Bubba was. Um, Epstein's brother says that it's not Clinton. There were two other options. Go back and look at that video because I did arrive at a conclusion on that. Okay. Yeah, I don't think she does dishes either. Will Putin release compromat on Trump? Well, you know what's very interesting is that all of a sudden now there's talk about this peace deal between it was kind of dormant for a while, but now there's conversation about this peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. Of course, as we know, Ukraine has not played any part in these peace talks, in these negotiations, which means that they're being strong armed. And when you look at the deal closely, you can see that it's a deal formulated between the United States and Russia, and that Russia gets everything. Everything they ask for, they get. Now, why would that be? The question that the viewer just asked, let's see, is will Putin release compromat on Trump? If he has to, he will. If Trump doesn't do his bidding, he will. But it looks like Trump, for the time being, is doing his bidding. Does Russia have compromat? We know that. We know that. We know that. Epstein gave him compromat. Bannon gave him compromat. Putin has compromat. Whether he uses it or not depends on what a good boy the felon is. And so far, the felon's being a very good boy. Okay. Do I see MTG in politics again in the future? Well, again, she will run for governor. So that's what I see. That's why she gave us the list of her accomplishments while she was in Congress. It's to make the case to the citizens of Georgia that she is a good conservative, that she was loyal to the president until he was disloyal to her, that she cares about the people of the state. She will amass a war chest and she will run for governor. I don't think she'll run for Senate, but I think she'll run for governor. Will there be more Republican resignations ahead of the midterms? That's a good question. Will there be more resignations ahead of the midterms? Remember that Marjorie resigned now because her pension just got vested. Obviously, that's not true for everyone. Some of them, of course, have had pensions vested for decades and they still won't go anywhere, right? So, will more Republicans leave? Let's see, before the midterms, because the handwriting, thank God, is on the wall. Things don't look good for them in the midterms. Will they leave in advance of the midterms? Let's see. You know what? I feel like these aren't shuffled right. They should be, but I feel like the Usyk question came back out. So I'm going to just, which I never do, I'm going to bridge shuffle. And what we're looking at is, will more Republicans leave Congress ahead of the midterms? Because they see handwriting on the wall. Wow. Very interesting. I shuffled. Okay, so we have the coffin and the lily, the felon, the ship, and the book. Okay, this is really interesting. So I've told you this a million times. When you see these two cards together, they, a lot of times, more times than not, refer to the physical death of someone. Well, who might that someone be? The felon. So if you've got people who are in Congress who've been, flunkies for the felon, and then the felon prior to November of 2026 is no longer with us, interesting. could very well be departures. Now, the book is about people not knowing really what to do, because what's Vance going to be like? Will Vance be somebody who they have to genuflect to? Vance, of course, is owned by Peter Thiel. What does that mean for people in Congress? Are they okay with being his flunky? So I think that whether more people leave is contingent on, the death of you know who. That was pretty direct. Okay, hold on. I have to scroll back so I don't miss anybody. Okay. Somebody's asking, will the next governor be a Democrat? The next governor of what? But anyway, okay, I'm just going to scroll back. Lauren, welcome. Okay, so now I scrolled too far. Okay, hold on. Thank you so much for your kind comments. What will our well, it's not a bad question. Purple Bodhisattva, what will our political climate be a year from now? Well, remember, a year from now is just before the midterm. Oh no, just after the midterms, because the midterms will be in early November of next year. What will the political climate be like in a year? That's a good question. You're not a member, but that was a great question, so I'm gonna look at that. Okay. So, okay, we have the ring, the snake, the felon, the cross, and the fox. Here's what I think. So this is things going like they usually do and, going along. But then we have the snake and the felon. And I think the felon ends. And all of that deception and everything that is being hidden by the Epstein files will have come out. And I think people will feel angrier. I think the MAGA base will be super angry and feel super betrayed. And I think that's a good thing, right? So a year from now, if he's, whether he's still here a year from now or whether he's not here a year from now, things will fall apart for the Republicans. That's what I think. I think they will have lost the midterms, so there will be jubilation on our side. And on the other side, I think they will feel angry and betrayed and hopefully can be won over. But I don't know. Some of them have viewpoints that, irrespective of their association with the felon, their viewpoints are pretty bad in terms of race and gender and class. They're just ugly people. But they will be angry and we will be happy. And this reign of terror will be coming to a close in a year. If the felon transitions in office, who will be the vice president? The cards aren't going to give me a name, but if you have some ideas of who the vice president will be, I can do a sort of a comparison. So Shauna, give me some names of who you think the vice president will be, and I will look at that. Okay, let's see. Will Cori Bush, that's a good question. Will Cori Bush win back her seat in 2026? Will Cori Bush win back her seat? Okay. So we have the whip, the moon, and the ship. I think she will, but I think it'll be hard fought. But she's a known quantity. She's very well respected. I think this is sailing forward, into good, better waters. I think she will win back her seat. Yes. Uh, Jacqueline, you're late. Well, I mean, you're not, you may be late, but you're here. So that's a good thing. uh, okay. Let's see. Oop, oop. Happy Thanksgiving. Uh, what do you make of Mayor-elect's visit to the White House? I've talked about that. I even talked about that in this video, so go back and watch. What is the billionaire donor class and corporations feeling about the economic blackout? She's not your mama. Love your not your name, your handle, or whatever I'm supposed to. Yeah, what do the billionaire donor class and corporations feel about the economic blackout? What do you think they feel? They're terrified. Have you noticed that the Black Friday sales started like a couple of weeks ago? So their theory is that we'll do our Black Friday shopping early, and then everything will be fine. It'll all even out. So that if we don't do our shopping that week from the 25th to the 2nd, they won't lose. But let's just see what they're thinking. Let's see what they're thinking. What are corporations thinking about the economic blackout, which I hope you'll all participate in? Okay, so yeah, so we have the birds, clouds, stork, letter, and moon. It's kind of what I said. So this is them meeting, right? You can just see them in corporate boardrooms. This is the card for meetings and conversations and all of that. And they have been very worried. This is the card for they've got doubts about what this means for them. But interesting that we have the stork in the middle. And this is what I said before I actually pulled the cards. What they think is, look, it's the holidays. People have to buy stuff. So what we'll do is we'll just give them these can't miss sales early. And then if nobody comes out for that week, no harm, no foul. That's what they think. So, they have priced things in advance accordingly. Thinking that they can look like good guys because they're giving these early bargains. That's what they've sat around their boardroom tables discussing. But again, there is no need to panic buy in advance. Don't do that because it just then what's the point of the blackout, right? It's inconvenient for everyone, but that's kind of the point. If it weren't inconvenient, it wouldn't matter. So they're worried, but they've tried to take these proactive, in advance steps to cover their bottom line. Okay. Okay. Will the Speaker of the House be ousted prior to the midterms? I will say that Mikey does not look too good. I mean, Elise Stefanik definitely got thrown under the bus, but I think it was, I don't think that the felon was going out of his way to do that. I think it was just in the heat of the moment, he was so enamored of Mamdani that he said what he said. But when it comes to Johnson, Johnson was definitely thrown under the bus. The felon had said to him, by all means necessary, by any means necessary, do not allow the Epstein files to be released. That's why there was no Congress in session for 50 days. That was Mike Johnson doing the felon's bidding, right? Then what happens? The felon turns around and says, release the Kraken. Let them sleep, making Mikey look like an idiot. An idiot. Further, Mike thought that he could, I don't know, convince John Thune of the Senate to, finesse things, either so that the files coming out could be slow walked or not shown at all or whatever. That didn't work because it was immediately put to a vote by the Senate, and it was a unanimous vote. So Mikey looks weak. Mikey looks weak. Will he stay the speaker? Will he stay the speaker? Because they'd have to do a vote of no confidence. And, they've been down that road before, if you recall. Let's see. How will Mike do moving forward? Now, I don't know. We've got the bouquet. We've got the star, the dog, the bear, and Clover. I actually think that he is safe for the moment until the midterms. Because, first of all, who else wants that job? Right? Who? It's a thankless job. Who would want that job? I think that even though the felon kind of turned on Mike, the felon also sees Mike as eternally loyal. He will not do an MTG. He will not do that because he'd really look stupid if he did. So I think that the felon, and you know what? He's probably got skeletons in his own closet, of which the felon is probably aware. So I think that until the midterms, I think Mike is safe. After the midterms, it's anybody's call. And by that time, he may say, you know what, I don't even want to be the speaker anymore, But when the midterms come, he'll be out. I think they'll let him hang on until then. Oops. Sorry, I'm just... I'm looking for questions. You've had some good ones, you guys. MTG needs to file articles of impeachment. She's not going to do that. She's not going to do that. She has set her sights on governor because, of course, as governor, you can run for president. We've had many governors who've become president. Just skip the Senate altogether and go to, run for president from the governor's chair. And I think that's what she's going to do. Okay. Will Eric Swalwell, California representative, who has announced that he is leaving to run for Georgia governor, will he be elected governor? I mean, California, not Georgia. He's from here. California. Will Swalwell be elected governor? I will tell you that he's apparently not very well known. I've got this little thing that's bothering me, a little whatever. Anyway, he's not very well known in those circles, in state government circles. He has said, he said the thing that you're supposed to say. So he has said he would focus on affordability of housing. Forget what his other thing was. But Swalwell, let's see, will he be the next governor of California? Well, we have Swalwell, Child, and Bouquet. I think he has a good chance, but we don't know who all else is going to be running. So, he's a known quantity. He's been a great Democrat. He's been a great opponent of the felon. So he's got that national name recognition. And we liberal Californians like him a lot. But who else is running? We have to see. Will Greg Abbott win a fourth term? That's another one that needs to... Greg Abbott. Let's use the older man. and just really look and see, will Greg Abbott get a fourth term as governor of Texas? Oh, he's a. I mean, I'm sorry he's in that wheelchair, but imagine what he could do if he stood up, if he could stand up. My cards are all upside down and backwards. I don't know how I did that. Hate that. All right, they're all over the place. Okay, this is going to be Greg Abbott. It's the governor of Texas, and the question was, will he get a fourth term? Well, interesting. So we have the star, but we have the mountain. And then we have Greg Abbott, the tower, and the letter. I'm wondering if he would even run. I'm going to pull clarifiers on him. So the clarifiers on him are the rider, the tree, and the man. I don't know but what his health might preclude his running again by the time it's time for him to run again. Maybe someone new and young needs to step up. Can't Beto O'Rourke run again for something? Can he run for governor of Texas? When that camp got flooded, Abbott got a lot of criticism for that, as he should have. So I don't know. His health might become a factor when it's time for him to run again. Oh God, yeah. Will the newly removed profession list be blocked? Am I the only one who noticed most of the jobs were mandated child abuse reporters? No, you're not the only one who noticed that. Lots of people have noticed that. It's also true that lots of those careers are women heavy. I talked about this at length on my video yesterday, and I think there will be litigation. This is what I said around this. I think there will be professional organizations litigating it and others. So I think there will be litigation around it, and I cannot imagine that it will stand. Maybe it stands for as long as the felon is there. I don't know. But as I said, I don't think this was a felon initiative. I think this was more of a Project 2025 and a Russell vote type initiative. But I cannot see it standing. But anyway, let's look. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a whole list of professions, nurses, doctors, physical therapists, architects, all kinds of professions that have been now deemed non-professional. And you might say, well, who cares what's in a name, Well, what's in a name is that only professional career paths, the education for those are eligible for federal student aid. So see? So if these things are now classified as non-professional, physician's assistants, if these are now considered non-professional, how are you supposed to go to school and get yourself educated to follow one of those professions if you cannot access federal student aid? It is really, it's evil is what it is. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the letter, for this decree announcing that these are not professions that will be covered by financial aid, federal financial aid. And let's just see I know that the issue will absolutely be litigated, but what we want to know is, okay, what happens in the end? So I'm just going to flip till I get to the letter and see what we get. Okay. Okay, so we have the lily, the clouds, the letter, the stork, and the scythe. And what I wanted to know whether this this decree. So think of this as the list of professions, right? Um, that are no longer considered professional and therefore not accessible. I mean, not eligible. Sorry, for student aid assistance. I don't think that this is going to work. I don't think it's going to fly. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I think it'll be litigated and tossed out. So, raise Cain, raise holy hell. If you're somebody who is in one of these professions, or if you have children who are going to school, or you yourself are going to school for these professions, this is why we're doing this economic boycott. It's to protest all of this. No kings, better pricing, and the stupid, uh, you know, evil Department of Education attempt to dumb down the electorate, dumb down the population, and also, more to the point, keep women out of the workforce. That really is the point of it. And yes, it's true. A lot of those professions um, involve people who are court mandated um, reporters. In other words, if there's child abuse, you're mandated to report it. The theory being that if there's no mandated court reporters, these pedophiles can, run rampant. I think that's a secondary reason. I think it's more to dumb down the electorate, to keep people out of higher education, to use that money for God knows what they want to use it for. I guess war with Venezuela. It's just evil, and I do not think it will stand. I don't think it will happen. Do the cards see the economic blackout being a success? Well, Nancy Cooley, what would success look like to you? What do you mean by success when you ask that question? Right? Will corporate America suddenly become good guys? Will I mean, what do you think success looks like? Because I really, again, I feel like it's one of those questions that we want to be careful about, because you don't want to do something because you're expecting that you're going to get to that last page and it's going to say happily ever after, the end, and then we can go back to things as they were. I don't think we need to look at this way. I don't think we should look at this way. I think that this economic blackout is a step, one of many steps, that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And that, will it send a message? Of course it'll send a message. Will it make them change their ugly ways overnight? Because once now they see the light, no, no. But will it make them pause and retool and reevaluate new ways to bamboozle us into thinking that they're for the little guy? Because that's really what it comes down to. I don't know. Let's see. What will be the takeaway? That's what I'll ask from the economic blackout. What will be the corporate takeaway from the economic blackout? So we have birds, coffin, tower, bear, star. Interesting. So, here they are in their boardrooms, sitting around the table, understanding that, that some things do have to change. Like Target. Okay. Target, which had a really very huge Black following. Black people love Target. Target seemed to love Black people's money. And then they did their little racist thing and we boycotted them, so that their profits are now down. I think it's up to 30%. So what they've done now is they've said all Target workers, within X number of minutes of a customer walking in, You have to smile and ask people how their day is and what can I do to, come on, come on. Well, the only people who are smiling out are the white ones because there's no black people going in Target. So, that is a very short-sighted, cynical, stupid solution. I think that if we really do what we're supposed to do with this economic boycott, it will make boardrooms have to say, okay, you know what? We need to change some things, at least the perception of things, because I can mirror this with the bear. One of the meanings of the bear is stocks. So they don't want their stock to fall because that will mean they go out of business. This is the card for business. So they are going to absolutely be thinking about their future, what kind of changes they need to make that will keep both consumers and stockholders happy. I think that's kind of oxymoronic. So, if they want to go through that step, that's fine, but that's not going to be the answer. And I'm going to pull a couple of cards on the tower because I'm curious. Okay, this is good. So here are, corporations, right? And this is the public participating in this economic blackout. And these corporations will have to realize they need to be more fair and equitable, both to the consumer and to their workers, because our money will have spoken. And what they really understand is money, right? This is stocks and stock options. This is the value of their corporations and their companies. So we will have spoken with our money, we, the public, and they will have to do a cost-benefit analysis. How much can we get away with not giving the public so that we come out the winners? And they may have to, maybe we have to do more than one of these, because ultimately they're going to have to make major changes. But Pluto and Aquarius dictates that there's going to be all kinds of change in every aspect of society, from education to banking to corporations to healthcare. Everything is going to be dismantled, and then we will rebuild it back better. But this, if nothing else, think of it, I live in the land of earthquakes. This will not be the big one, but this will be earth shaking for them, for these corporations, if we participate. It will be earth shaking and it will be impossible for them to ignore. Will they come up with the right solution? Probably not right away, but they will have to be thinking about it. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Black Friday has been marketed after Halloween for a while now. That's fine, but the point is, why are they pushing this so hard? Because they know about the blackout that's coming. We just have to not succumb to this. No, okay. No. All right. Somebody asked this question about JD becoming president and who's going to be the vice president. No, he's not going to want Pete Hegseth for that. But I will tell you, I think Pete Hegseth is on the chopping block. I think that there is someone that Vance likes for the defense secretary or secretary of war or whatever you want to call it. He likes him better than Hegseth. Hegseth has proved nothing but a problem. And so I would like to look at Hegseth, and I want to see if he is on the chopping block. I'm going to use the young man for him. I think he will be fired, and I do not think that he will be elevated at any point to vice president. So rest assured, that is not going to happen. I don't think that there is love lost between Vance and Hegseth. No. Hegseth is just there because the felon found him on Fox and thought he looked like central casting. That's the whole reason he's there. He has nothing to do with Vance. But let's look and see, is Hegseth gonna be fired? Because I think he's in trouble. I'm going to use the young man card for him because he's just so, uh, you know, incontinent. Yeah. Okay. Mm. Yeah. Okay. So this is on Pete Hegseth. Will he be vice president? No. When Vance takes over? No. Will he be fired from his job as Secretary of War? Let's see. Cross, clouds, Hegseth, moon, and ring. So I'll tell you what I think. This is not good. Generally, when traditionally, when a line starts with a cross, it's kind of like you already know the answer to this. Like, why are you even looking at it? And I think he will be fired. He's causing them a lot of trouble, with his big bad bluff. And, the military doesn't go for that. And the military does not respect or like him or have any confidence in him. He has a bad reputation, card for reputation among the military. And this ring feels to me like a noose around his neck. Clarifiers for him are the fox, the snake, and the mice. And I can mirror the cross together with the snake. The mice. I think that Hegseth will be fired. That's what I think. Maybe he'll get some job doing something. I don't know, but it will not be vice president. No. Again, I'm just doing cards. I might be right. I might be wrong, but I'm going to say, like Ivory Soap, I am 99.9% sure that Hegseth will not be the vice president. And I'm that much sure that he'll be fired. Okay. We've been here for a while. I'm just going to look and see if there are. Okay. Will Vance continue the ice mass deportations, and will Miller still be in charge of it? I think Miller is a Trump whisperer. I don't think he's a Vance whisperer. It's not to say that Vance is a good guy on the subject of deportation, because he's not. Wasn't he the one that said they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs? But I think that Miller, because he's such a Trump guy, maybe somebody that Vance decides to get rid of. But again, it doesn't mean that Vance is someone that we can breathe a sigh of relief over when it comes to deportation. I don't think so. Will Vance choose Peter Thiel for his vice president? I don't know. Let's see. Will Vance choose Peter Thiel for his vice president? I'm just going to pull 3 cards and see whether it's a yes or no. Letter, tree, coffin. I don't think so. And I don't think Peter Thiel would want that job, is the point. Peter Thiel likes to be the guy pulling the strings behind the scenes. He's not trying to be second fiddle to anybody. And you know what the vice presidency is. Sounds great. Oh, I've got asked to be the vice president. And then a lot of times their role is ceremonial. Look how Biden, for the longest time, kind of put Kamala Harris in mothballs. People would say things like, how come she's not speaking up? Why aren't we hearing from her? Because she was playing the role that Biden wanted her to play. And Biden wanted her to play a very different role than Obama had him play when he was, when Biden was his vice president. So for Peter Thiel, this would not be a step up, a good move at all. He is the puppet master. When you go to a puppet show, you don't see the guy pulling the strings. He's behind the curtain. That's where Peter Thiel will stay. Okay. Yeah, and he's South African. So he can't be vice president because vice president, what is their one job aside from, being in the background? It's to be at the ready should the president buy the farm. And we cannot have a foreign born person as the president. It's in the Constitution. It can't happen. And I know the Constitution is kind of being shredded right now, but that's something that won't change, nor would Peter Thiel want that to happen. So just in case anybody's getting ready to ask me, will Musk be the vice president? No, for the same reasons, all of the same reasons. Okay. Okay, well, wherever he was born, whatever kind of citizenship he has, he wasn't born here, so he will not be the vice president. Okay, I guess that's about it. We've been here longer than an hour. Thank you all for coming. I guess I'll just do these live streams and have them be open for everybody. So, if you want to bow out of that top tier, please, I understand, feel free. I'd appreciate those of you who stay at the lower tier. It's just supporting me being able to do the work, but I understand if that's a hardship as well. Tomorrow, please come and watch. I have a video with a friend of mine. It's going to be a divination kind of a video. It's a different form. It's not cards. So I think you'll enjoy watching her, watching us. So that'll be up tomorrow. And then I'll be on in my regular way on Monday. So I'll see you live next time I do a live, whenever that is. And listen, have a great rest of your weekend. Okay. Take care, everybody.